In the name of God, in the name of without doubt is capable and voice, welcome to our own channel. I hope all of you be healthy and fine. Our slogan is Seeker is Finder. Welcome the second episode of learning SAP program. Actually, in the previous session, we will discuss about the SAP program, what is different between SAP and ETAPS program. But in this episode, we are going to design and analyze a very simple beam. We have actually type of the simply supported beam that UDL, uniform distributed load, act with the amount of 1000 kilogram per meter. And also this beam is actually made up of the concrete, and the dimension is the weight is 40 centimeter and the depth is actually 45 centimeter. We are going to design and analyze this type of the beam. As I told you in the previous session that the main goal of the SAP program is in the analyze portion we have to find the maximum capacity strength of the structure element, but in a design portion we have to find the best cross section for our structure element. It means in here we design and analyze beam in SAP that we know that this load that hacked in the beam 1000 kilogram per meter, this beam will satisfy that amount of load or not. Will this beam become fail or not with this dimension? So, and also we learned that how we can find the number of freeboard by SAP program. So first of all we have to open our SAP program, and actually we have to create a new project. So we have three ways for creating new project. First of all, there is a option, we have new model, or in here also we have file, new model, or the shortcut is Ctrl+N. If you press the Ctrl+N, this window will open. In this window, first of all, in here we have three options. New model initialization. The first one, we have initialize model from saved setting. It means actually by this option, suppose that you actually set once time the setting of your SAP program, and you say to SAP program that always that I work all type of the projects, you should be set according to that setting that I set it. So in here we didn't saved any settings, so in that case it's in a damp status, or it's in a block. The second option is initialize model from defaults with units. It means that when you are new in SAP program, you don't have any existing file or previous file. So in that case you have to select this. And the third option is initialize model from an existing file. It means that when you have an existing file in your computer, and you want to set all the setting of your new project according to the previous project that you work in SAP program, so you can select this option. So now we can select this option. Then in here you have to determine the unit. Our unit is actually, as I told you in the previous session, that the first term is belongs to the load, the second belongs to the length, and the third belongs to centigrade. In here we have kilogram, force, meter, and centigrade we have. So we have to find kilogram, meter, and centigrade. So there is a kilogram. Now modify show information. What does it mean here? There is a different type of information related to your project. What is the company name, client name, project name, model name, description, all these things, but we don't need for this now. Then in here you have different templates. In every structure element actually we have a specific template, as I told you in the previous session, that is one of the luxury of the SAP program. For example, for beam we have a specific template, for truss we have a specific template, for frame we have a specific template, for walls, slab, staircases, shells. But one thing is that in a SAP program can do design and analyze all type of structure elements, but we have also linear elements. For example, wall, for example, staircases. In that case, the only thing that SAP program can do is just analyze. It means from here up to here we can do design and analyze in SAP program, but after that we have a linear options. The SAP program, the only thing can do is only analyze. So we have three ways for plotting of our beam. The first one is by blank page. Just click on blank page. Now in here, if you see in a drawing board, we have different options. The first option is actually set select mode. It means that when you are in a order selection, for example in type of drawing selection, or for example you're in type of the rotation selection or perspective views. So when you want to come in a default setting mode or default selection mode, so you can select the first one. The second one is, for example, suppose that we are in here, okay, in a selection of rotation, but if you just click here, you can come in a selection default mode. The second option that we have is a set V-shape element mode. If you want to change the element mode of your structures, you can use this option. The third option is draw a special joint. For example, you have a structure and you want to add some special points or add some points in your structure, so you can use this option, that by node we can add some points. The fourth option that we have is a draw frame and cable. We have actually two options for drawing of the frame cable. One, this option, and the second one is actually quick draw frame cable. What's the difference between these two options? The first one is if you don't have any restriction area, or if you don't have any two specific points, so you can use by this option. And if you have two specific points or restriction area, so you can use by quick draw frame cable. Then we have braces. You know that why we provide brace, because of stability of the structure. These are actually in diagonal ways. So if you want to draw, you can use by this option. There's another type of drawing that we have is quick draw secondary beams. In some structure, have you noted that when we design the structure, we think that in some places maybe the failure will occur after 8 year, 9 year. So on that places we actually provide the secondary beams. That beam is actually their dimensions, their rebar installation, rebar shape is different from your real beams. So just we provide because of factor of safety. Then these three options actually belongs to the, for example, even you want to draw a slab, so you can use by these three options. And this option is off because when you are in a 2D window, you can use it. For example, in here I set this in 2D view, so if you see this option opening. Then we have three options here. All, what does it mean? For example, you have 368 frame and you want to select all of them, so it will become much more difficult for you that you select all of them one by one. So just by click of this option, you can select all of them in a 1 second. Then if you want to go in a preview selection, so you can select you use this option. And if you want to clear all the selections, so you can use this option. And then in here also we have some options. For example, points and grid intersection, end and mid points, intersection. So we are discussing about these elements in the next episode. So first of all, how we can draw our beam. Our actually our length of our beam is actually 6 meters. Now by this option, now we cannot use this option because in here we don't have any two specific points. So first we use this option. If you select in this option, in here we have also 5 another things that we have to know. The first one is line object type. Your object is actually straight, circular, which type of structure you have, curve, cable, tendon. We are in a straight frame, so we have to select this. The second is a section. Which section, that section that you define, you have to select that section. Now I work for you that how we can define the section. The third one, moment release. You are know better that we have two type of the moment, continuous and pin. So any type of moment that you have to select this. Then offset, if you have any offset, you can get offset or give offset. Then drawing control type, and drawing control type, here we have some options that by this option we can draw. For example, non-space bar, I mean by freehand you can draw your structure. Then horizontal, it means that only horizontal line you can draw. Vertical means only vertical line you can draw. And parallel to angle, it means by according to angle you want to draw. And fixed length, according to length you want to draw. For example, you say that I want to draw only 6 meter beam, so you can select this. Fixed length and angle according to length and according to angle you want to draw. and fixed DH and DV is related to slope. But in here we don't have any slope. So in here which option we have to select? We can select the fixed lane or horizontal. For example, we use the fixed lane. First of all, you have to select in a one place. For example, in here, 1 minute. Come back here. First of all, we have to place click in a one point, then come here, select the fixed length. For example, our length is 6 meters, so just write 6 meters, and if you see, you can only draw the 6 meters. Now we draw the 6 meters. Okay, but if you see, there is actually the y-axis and z-axis also get some values. Okay, so how we can fix that? So if you see it's not correctly straight, so just click in this point, right click, go in a location, double click. In here, if you see the x value, it's a origin point. In origin point, our x, y, z, 3 of them is 0. So in here you have to set it to the 0. Then is 0. Okay, then okay. Then this point also we have to correct it. Just right click and go to location. In here, if you see, our length is 6 meters, but in here is a 5.25. So you can correct it. Just double click in here 6, and here z is also get it some value. We have to make it 0. Now we have a correctly 6 meter beam. How? Just come or bring cursor in this point and see this status bar that the length is actually 6 meters. Then another method that we can draw or plot the beam is by grade lines. Also we can do. In a grade lines, what you have two options, Cartesian or cylindrical. If you have a circular, you can use this, and if you have a straight, you can use this. In here, number of grade lines, it means that how many points you have in x direction, y direction, and z direction. We have only 2 points in x direction. Okay, one hand support and one we can say ruler support. But in a y direction and z direction, we don't have any point because we are in a 2D dimension. So it means, but one thing that you cannot give the value of minus or 0. It means if you don't have any value, you have to give the value of 1. In here you can give the value 0 because in here you are in an origin, but in here and in here you cannot give. So in here, in an x direction we have 2 points. In a y direction we don't have any points, so we have to give 1. In an x direction, how much is great spacing? Mean how much space we have? We have 6 meters space. In a y direction we don't have any space, so we have to get 1. In here also we have to give 1. In here 0, 0, 0. Then okay. Then you actually restricted the area, or you have 2 points. So by this option also you can draw, or by this option quick draw also you can draw. Just select and just click in this restriction area, then it's actually 6 meter beam. By third method that we can plot our beam is by specific template of the beam we can do. Just click in here. In here we have actually number of span. We have actually one span. Span into 6 meter. Then here we have used custom gate spacing and locate origin. If you want to locate on, if you want to plot your beam according to grade line, so you can take mark this option. But we want to just drawn by the specific template of the beam, so we cannot use, or you can use, but in here we don't use by this option. Then here we have restraint. Restraint means that do you want to have supports or not? If you want, just tick mark this. And then the section properties, what type of section you have, concrete, rebar, which type of section. In here also you can define, or by this option also you can define. I want to do in this step, not in here. So just click. Now you have a beam. Now the 6 meter beam. Okay. Now modularization step finished. The second step that we have is actually define. First of all, we have to define the materials. It's actually mark of concrete and some mark of the rebar. First of all, we have a concrete, so come in a modify show material. You can change the name concrete. Then the density of concrete is 2400, PCC is 2400, RC is 2500. In here actually we use concrete RC. So in here, why we don't get the density of the RC? Because in here we define the material separately, rebar separately, concrete separately. In here it means that we have only concrete, so in that case we have to get 2400, and we don't have data of these. If you have details of these in your project, modulus of elasticity, Poisson, shear modulus, you can give these values also. But one option that in here we have light weight concrete. If your density of concrete is less than 1800 kilogram per meter, so you have to take more of this option. Now just click OK. Then in here we have rebar. So come and modify show material. It is actually not rebar. It's a rebar, but it is actually it has actually the material of the steel, is actually type of the steel, but we need actually type of the rebar. Okay, so you cannot use this. So just come and add new material. In here just select the rebar, grade 60, okay, grade 60, and then come and modify show material. In here change the, now if you see in here we have material type rebar, change the density of rebar is 7850 kilogram, and then okay. Now you know that actually why we provide these material, okay, why we didn't use this, because that belongs to steel and it belongs to the rebar. So just click. Then the second option, we have section property, frame section, add new property. We have actually concrete, so in here select the concrete. Our beam is actually type of the rectangular, so select the rectangular, and our data is 0.45 and 0.40, okay, 0.45 and 0.40. In here if you, it's actually change it, we have 45 centimeter, 40 centimeter, but if you don't know that how many centimeter is meter, so you can just write like this, just 45 centimeter, and it will automatically change to the your default unit. Then in here we have actually 40 centimeter. Then don't bring change in here, just come in a concrete reinforcement, select the beam because design type is beam, then longitudinal bars and confinement bar, it means straps, they are grade 60, grade 60 is okay. Now in here also don't bring any change in here. It is when we bring change in here, when you manually calculate or design and analyze your beam, and then your value comes, then you put here and you say to Sap program that compare your value with my value. But here we didn't calculate it by our hands. So just in here, concrete cover is different from different standards. In AISC, American Institute of Steel Construction, say that from top and bottom gate concrete cover 2 mm and from left to right 4 mm. But in a SI unit international system, it said that in a top, bottom, left, right gate 4 cm. But the main concept of this is that this concrete cover is a 10 to 12% of your depth. For example, your depth is 45 cm. 10% of 45 is 0.45, and 10% of the 40 is 0.04. Then okay, and then okay. Now you can also change the name. It's actually beam. Then it's actually default. We can say it's a default section. We don't use this because it's actually made up of the steel, but our beam is actually made up of the concrete. Then come in a load pattern. We have one dead load and one live load. In your load pattern name, type, which type of load you have, self weight multiply, what does it mean? In here this volume is whether 0 or 1. 1 is, it means is at 100% the volume, and 0 it means we want to add volume. For example, dead load is always 1, but here if I write the live load, okay, live load, type, select the live, in here it will come automatically 0. Then add new pattern, then okay. Then also come here in a load combination, not load cases, load combination. Add new combo. In here, we create some combination. For example, your value of the live load count 1. You, because of factor of safety, you add some volume more. For example, at count 1, I say that this is actually 1.4. We get, for example, 1.7 a live load. So it means that multiply 1 by 1.7 because of factor of safety. So that load is actually factor of safety in an old version is a 1.4 plus 1.4 of dead load plus 1.7 of live load. But in a new version is a 0.2 of the dead load and 0.6 of the live load. So here we can get 0.2 or 1.4 old version or new version, no problem. So we can get 1.4 of dead load and 1.7 of the live load. Then define is also finished. Then we have assign. We have to actually assign our loads. Come in assign. Here we have frame load. Okay. So before that, actually we have frame. We have to assign our that frame that we made it. 40 centimeter concrete. Come in a frame section. We have actually beam. Apply and OK. Now, if you want to see your extrude view of your beam, so just come in a view, set display option, go in a general type, extrude, then apply and OK. Now if you see, it's actually 45 and 40 centimeter. It's actually the extrude of your beam that you created. Okay. Now we have to off the extrude, standard, apply and OK. Now we have to actually define the loads. So just select your beam, then come in assign, frame load. We have distributed load. In here you have different type of the load that you define. Then coordinate system is global, load direction gravity meaning a downward, load type force or movement. We have this. Then here we have the option add to existing load. For example, on one point you have 2 kilonewton load. You want to add 3 load also, that the combination become 5. So you have to select this, add to existing. Replace, I mean you have 2, you want to add new load. For example 3, but they will not become subtract or sum. You just replace it. So you have to do this. And if you want to delete on that point your load, so you have to select this option. So now we have to add new loads. Then here we have 2 things, relative distance. For example, in 2 meter you have 3 kilonewton force. In 5 meter we have 4 kilonewton force. So you use this. In these next examples we will work in relative distance. But now we have in an absolute distance from end. Which means from start up to end we have only one type of the loads. And our load is actually how much? 1000 kilogram per meter. Then apply and then OK. Then another option we have actually we can say analyze. Come in analyze here, and here also we have set analyze option, select XZ plane, okay, because you're in 2D. Then come in run analyze. In here we have dead load and live load. The model is a combination from SAP program. We don't need this, so just click here, do not run according to this, and then run now. Just save, for example, civil or CUOI, Obaidullah, civil engineer Obaidullah Ibrahimzada, just a name. Now it's actually deformed shape of your object. Then if you see the animation, you can see also the animation. Then we have a design. In here also we have design, in here also we have design. So just come here, select design combo. First thing we have to do, so add that combination that you made it. Then also this view reference, don't bring any change in here, okay? Actual information, which code is this. Now design it. Now this value is too small, so we can change the unit into kilogram centimeter. Now what is this value at top 0 and bottom we have some values? These are actually your steel area. Your steel area. Now if you see, we don't have any failure in here. It means this 45 and 40 centimeter, this section is too much. We can decrease the section to, for example, 30 to 35. If you see, if you near in this red color, it means you are near to failure. But we are actually in here. It means there is actually too much uneconomical beam. So you can actually you can decrease the section. So now come that we decrease the section, what happened? Close. We have to return back to unlock our model. Then come in a material. We are in a section. We have to decrease because it's uneconomical. Then modify. This we can, for example, we can get the unit centimeter. For example, we can get 35 to 30. Okay. Now then concrete reinforcement we can get 3 or 3.5. Here also 3.5. Okay. Then select assign frame section, assign your beam, and you have load. Okay, don't need to add load because here we have load of 1000. Okay, now go analyze and then design. See, also it's a too much, so you can decrease and decrease it until that you reach in here or in this color. So now how we can find the details? Just come here, select right click, go to summary. How we can find number of rebars? Here if you see, we have one value 788760. Just note this value and then come in a define, come in a actually section property, reinforcement bar size. In here you have every bar size. For example, number 10 or 10 millimeter in every type of the rebar. Number 2 is means in an inch. You have to change into millimeter. You are in centimeter, so it means you have to change this in a centimeter. 1 inch is 2.5 centimeter. Now that area that I told you that noted, just divide that area by divide that rebar size that you want to make or that you want to install in your beam. So just divide it, a number of rebar will come. And also you can also decrease more the section. For example, we decrease it to, for example, we can say we can get 25 is too much less, so we can get, for example, 25 up to 30 or 30 to 25. Now we will see what will happen. In here depth is 10% of depth the concrete cover, then okay, and then okay, then also okay. They assign and also the loads actually we have. Okay, for example, select in this point for shoring, come in loads. It means okay, load is also gone, so we have to define again the loads. Just click, come in assign frame load, distribute it, just replace, and in here we can get kilogram force per centimeter. It will become 10 if you change it. Then apply and then okay. Now design and analyze and then design. It's also too much. Okay, so by this way you can design and analyze your beam. Have a nice time. Goodbye.